So this year was kind of a great year for lost media, really, when it comes right down to it. And a lot of people like Sourcebrew and Blame It on Jorge have already put out really beefy videos that chronicle all the finds this year. Now, I wanted to get in on the action too, but I don't have the time to quite make a Lost Media Found in 2025 video of all the things that were found. So instead, I'd like to get in on the action by highlighting some of my personal favorite finds of the year and what they mean to me, because I figure that's something that's more focused and lets you have a little bit of an insight into what's going on in my mind here. Are Real Monsters was of course a Nickelodeon cartoon about monsters in our world that lived in the depths of a garbage dump, and they get taught to scare people. It focused on three key monsters, that being Ickis, Crumb and Ablina, and ran for about 4 seasons from 1994 to 1997. But it also had a pitch pilot that was made and shipped around to networks in 1993. For the longest time though, there was only just screenshots and a couple of small clips of this pilot that were all that existed until February 2025. A member of the r/cartoons subreddit uploaded the full Are Real Monsters pilot for everyone there to see, but this particular version had actually been cropped and was AI upscaled rather than the pure as intended version, I guess. Thankfully though, a few days later, someone else in fact uploaded the full unaltered version of the Are Real Monsters pilot in all its glory, and it was just called Real Monsters. Other than that, it was mostly faithful to the original show, except the animation had a rougher and darker appearance, and in this version the Grumble is called the Womble. I remember watching Are Real Monsters myself years ago, and I wasn't necessarily a huge ultra fan of the show, but it did put a massive smile on my face seeing it. I love the grungy, grubby 90s feel of it that you just can't get necessarily in other cartoon shows today. And I like the pun with the ear monster there. What can I say? I'm a sucker for stupid puns like that. I think I may have even had a couple of the Are Real Monsters toys as well. I definitely had Ickis, Sabrina and Crumb, who I remember was my favourite character, and there was this one sort of eyeball squid thing. You had the eyeball and then you could sort of flip it in on itself and it would be a squid. It wasn't a huge earth-shattering find, but I still loved seeing this come to light, and I enjoyed the 9 or so minutes of time that it took me to watch it. If you watch my Lost Media of Australia iceberg, then I'm happy to report that at least some of the entries on it have now aged badly because some stuff has been found. Specifically the 2 Bananas in Pajamas episodes that I talked about, Self-Serve and Odd Socks. Both of them thankfully have now been recovered. On the 14th of April this year, Odd Socks was found by YouTuber Johnson and Noddy, and it was great to see it's there. But thankfully it wasn't the only Bananas in Pajamas lost media to be found, because Self-Serve ended up being uploaded by ABC themselves to their iView streaming platform in August this year. And in both instances I believe it was someone in the comments that let me know when they were found. I'm so glad that we can now see Bananas in Pajamas in all of its glory, and officially too. Bananas in Pajamas were massive icons for Australia and a lot of Australian kids back in the day. And I think we look at Bluey today, and Bluey certainly is awesome, and Bananas in Pajamas were kind of before them. I think they're kind of the most famous Australian kids TV show property aimed at that really young age group of that time. And it's honestly kind of remarkable that for so long you could not officially watch the whole series. You would think that the ABC would recognize the value of them and they would do the deals or sort whatever they needed to sort way before now. But nonetheless, both episodes are up there and you can watch the whole series today, and that is only a good thing, I think. So watch it back and have some memories. If you have kids, give them a taste of it too. Last year was a really huge year for Lost Waves, and things have kind of tapered off in some ways, especially since the most mysterious song on the internet was finally found and identified. But there have been two particular finds this year that caught my eye because they definitely are lost media cases in and of themselves. The first one that I have to talk about is, of course, Eastern Wind. People have been looking for this particular version of Eastern Wind for 20 plus years and trying to positively identify the sinner. Of course, this version of Eastern Wind was a cover of the Krista Berg song of the same name, and pretty identical lyrics, it has to be said. Except the one that's been floating around the internet for 20 years, the snippet at least, is a synth one that really elevates the song into something else altogether. And people were searching and searching for the sinner for years and a full version of the song. And I believe last year it was that somebody contacted a German singer named Kai Knoll after comparing the voice of the Eastern Wind clip to one of Kai's songs. Unfortunately though, a full version of Kai's cover of Eastern Wind didn't exist at that point. Kai did say that he would look for it though, but he wasn't sure if he would be able to release it because he'd have to talk to Krista Berg's people to see if he could sort something out. Thankfully though, Kai did find a full version of his song, but at first he wasn't really satisfied with the restoration that he did and was kind of reluctant to release it. But the stars kind of aligned to him, I guess, and Kai was professionally happy with the remastering of his version of Eastern Wind, and he shared it with some people in the Lost Wave community, and it has now gone around the internet. And we're all the better for it, I think. It is just a fantastic song, and it's so great to be able to hear the whole theme from that whooshing of the wind right to the end. And there's a lot of ideas there, and it's very 80s, but so good. And yes, you can say it was a piece of lost media, and now we can say it is thankfully found in full. But we can't really say that for the next piece of media on this list. You might remember from my Lost Wave Found in 2024 video that I talked about the song My Wandering Fire finally being identified as being by Natalia Veric. And we only had a small clip of it then, just that one clip that the guy had taped off his TV back in the late 90s. Even though we had all the people identified involved in the production and all the photos and everything, it was just that one clip that we had. Thankfully though, in October this year, I believe, there was more of the song found. The Russian lost media / Lost Wave scene had been scouring flea markets for tapes that might have had the full music video and thus the full song of My Wandering Fire. And they found it. Kind of.
ночную тьму. В моем дому не хочет жить огонь, мои дрова не нравятся ему.
You see, one particular tape that a Russian Lost Wave enthusiast found did have an extended version of that music video, and it had the audio as well, a longer version. And I gotta tell you, it's pretty great to hear because the clarinet player absolutely goes off, and you can really appreciate the cinematography in this extended version of My Wandering Fire. I really like these shots of Natalia being reflected in the water that you can now see properly thanks to this video. But of course, it was not the full song, and it actually gets cut off by some kind of network bumper or something. But the story does not end there. A couple of weeks after this flea market tape was found, somebody actually managed to track down the full visuals, the full video of the My Wandering Fire music video, but it didn't have the song to it. It was no audio, it was muted, but the rest of the video is still pretty great. Natalia goes through a few other costume changes, and you can really see that they put a lot of effort into this video, and she just looks great in it all. But again, unfortunately, we do not have the full audio of the song, but there is a video that I've seen around, uploaded by Lost Wave Finder, I believe, where he was able to obtain audio that somebody had done of a extended version of the song beyond the flea market tape. And I gotta say, it sounds pretty good, and the extended parts that goes beyond the flea market tape really syncs up well with the official video that has no audio. I know that's gonna make sense eventually in the edit, hopefully. I'm going to link that in the comments. You should really check it out, and I think it's going to be pretty close to what the actual song sounds like if it ever gets found. And I really hope that it does too, because it would mean the end of a very long Lost Media chapter. And I'm really glad to talk about this one too, because I don't really know much about Russian Lost Media, and I don't think many other people do either. There's a lot of other countries and subcultures around the world that we don't really look at that media for. And this is probably Russia's biggest case that I'm aware of. Although if you are Russian or familiar with the Russian Lost Media scene, then please correct me in the comments. It is just kind of funny though that as we keep finding out more about this song, and bits and pieces keep coming to the surface, like the photos from the shoot and like the video, that the one thing we still don't have is the full song in all of its official glory. Hopefully it'll be the next thing that's found, because I guess it's the only part of My Wandering Fire really that's unaccounted for, the song itself. And with all of that, I am now finished with this video. I hope you have had fun. This has been a really off the cuff one and perhaps a bit rushed, because I'm going off actually no script this time. I've edited stuff out, and I did do a few bullet points there at the start, but that's about it. I'm not really reading off a script at this point. I don't know if I'll do that again for future videos, but let me know what you think of this video and of the Lost Media finds that I've talked about here. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and see you for the next one. Take care.